Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news as Ruben Amorim sets an unreal target for Manchester United fans and players, and I'm going to say I bloody love it. We've been waiting for this breaking news for a long time. What is the actual target for the season? The club won't say it, Amorim won't say it, the players won't say it. Well, Amorim has said it, and I think it's about bloody time too. We're setting a target of what is needed, not what's wanted, not what's desired, not what would be considered okay. Absolutely has to happen European football from the words, from the mouth of Ruben Amorim. We've also got a raft of transfer stuff to get through as well around strikers, midfielders in January, etc. And Ruben Amorim detailing his system, talking about what that's all about, speaking about Kobbie Mainoo as well. Lots to get into this morning, and it's bloody match day. Well, it's match day. I've got the lucky jumper on. We've had this on for every win since Sunderland, and the party goes on. So I hope you're excited today. 3 o'clock, Man United against Nottingham Forest. 3 more points hopefully coming. Also, November the 1st. Is it the first day of Christmas, some might say? Well, if it is, do not forget to get the Christmas jumper. They're available for pre-order now, worldwide, delivered to your door. Get them while you can. Knitted jumpers, as you can see in the detail. These ain't printed. These are knitted jumpers. Limited edition every year. I think this is the best one yet. Some people say it's the red and black one. I think it's this one. Get yours now, delivered to your door, worldwide, while you can. Links in the description or scan the QR code. Lovely stuff. That's going up behind me for the match as well. Right, let's go straight into the show. This is what Ruben Amorim had to say. I think this is huge news. I think this is massive news. He said we must go for Europe for all sorts of season. Excitement is not letting me get my words out this morning. We must go to Europe for all sorts of reasons. Our club must be in Europe. Mainoo needs more matches so that I can do some rotation, because with one match per week, it's really difficult. I have to take out one of the players who is playing to bring in another. When we have more matches, we can spread it out. We can manage the group differently. We use the time. We have to be better, to be ready for the European matches. The goal doesn't change. We must go to Europe. Being in the top 4 is difficult, but you never know. We just have to focus on the next match. I'm getting bloody goosebumps talking about this. This is what we should be doing. And I know you can't do this when you're losing to Brentford and Man City, but you can do it when you've won 3 games in a row. We have to set targets. Manchester United always has to be a moving target. We can never be complacent. We can never stand still. We can never say that's good enough. We always have to go for something. 3 wins in a row, 5 wins and a haircut. Who gives a shit? This is minor banter stuff. We need to be in Europe. We need to be challenging for titles. I like this manager. I like that he's setting that target. I've always found it a little bit frustrating that the club this season has refused to set any targets. We must set those targets. We're Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes can come out and say that. Harry Maguire can say that, and the manager certainly can. I think going into today's game, letting the fans know, letting the players know that that's what we must achieve this season, it gives us a purpose. And I accept that we've got to stay quiet about it until we start winning. But now that we're winning, that has to be the focus. To keep the wins going, we have to be in Europe next season. Absolutely. I love this. I think it's brilliant. I think, you know, it's been said now. We know what the target is. And we're not talking about the Europa League here. Let's not pretend that we're talking about the Europa League. He won't get sacked if he gets Europa League football, but we're talking about the Champions League here. That's what we're talking about. That's the target. We must get it. And it's interesting because we've spoken about this over this week, and I'm not for 1 minute saying that Ruben Amorim sits and watches the United Stand, although I have heard. But no, I'm joking about that. But we have literally spoken about this week, like Mainoo, Mazraoui, etc., who is not a new young player. It's just like, for example, he can't pick them. And when he says that publicly, I think it's really important. I can't pick these players who deserve game time because I haven't got enough games. And I think there's a very simplistic view in the media, or sometimes in our fan base, that, oh, why is Mainoo not playing? Why is Mazraoui not playing? Physically, it's impossible. It's impossible to play them when you're playing 1 game a week and you've got a winning team. What are you going to do? Drop Bruno for Mainoo at the moment? It's never going to happen. Drop Casemiro for Mainoo? I don't think he wants Mainoo in that position. But if we had a midweek game in Europe coming up on Thursday, Mainoo would probably start. So we do need European football. I mean, I don't know how that helps Mainoo, to be honest with you, in the sense that you know, he's going to have to wait until next season to, you know, get that opportunity, I suppose. But I feel like it's obviously makes a hell of a lot of sense what he's saying on how, you know, he needs to keep everybody happy. And this is what he said about that. He said, first of all, I've proven this. I thought this was a really big statement as well. He said, how does he keep everyone happy? And I don't necessarily agree with this one, by the way. This is one I don't, because it's 1 year of Amorim, by the way. 1 year of Amorim, so get your comments in. What do you think 1 year? I think officially it's 1 year today. So what's your thoughts on that? But this was what was said about keeping everyone happy. He said, first of all, I've proven that anyone can play. No matter your name, you have to do what's right to play for Manchester United. I try to explain to the players that this is a long-term project, so they feel they're part of a project that's bigger than a single match or season. Then I'll remind them that Casemiro wasn't a starter. He fought and earned his place in the team. I think that helps them understand that I'm trying to be fair. Do you think Ruben Amorim is fair in his team selection? Do you think that Amorim will pick a player if they're training well over a certain other player? Do you think Amorim is fair? Do you think the Casemiro example is right? I do and I don't, to be honest with you. I think Casemiro wasn't in the team in January because he wasn't playing very well, and then I think he's worked hard and is now better than Agate, so he plays. There is no way Dalot is better than Dorgu or Mazraoui at left wing back, so I don't agree on that. So I think, look, he has got favourites. I think to sit there in an interview and say, I'm fair, every player knows I'm fair, and if you're playing well, you will get picked. I don't agree with that. And I don't agree with that because that's not life. I don't think Ruben Amorim sits there looking at the training and going, he's doing well, so I'm going to pick him on Saturday. I think he looks at it and goes, I like Dalot. I trust Dalot. I'm going to pick Dalot as left wing back because I want him in my team. I don't think it matters how good. Mazraoui's better than Dalot. Mazraoui's a better left wing back than Dalot. But he won't play ahead of Dalot. And Dorgu is better than Dalot and he won't play ahead of Dalot because he wants to put Dalot in the team because Dalot's one of his favourites. So every manager has favourites. I think within reason, if you play well, you'll get in the team. But let's not pretend Amorim sat there all week going, if you have a good week, you're in the team. You don't want that anyway. You don't want that anyway. That's my point. A manager has to have a best 11. He has to have favourites. It's not a negative, but I'm not being negative at all. I'm just saying that every manager has to have a best 11. Every manager has to have favourites. You can't just go week to week going, ooh, Mainu trained well this week. You dropped Bruno. Ooh, Aiden Heaven played well this week. You dropped Luke Shaw. Ooh, Binder played well. You dropped Lemens. That's a stupid way to run a football club. You've got to have a best 11 in your mind. But Casemiro did force his way into the team through hard work and determination. I agree with that. But I don't agree that he, you know, Mazraoui's better than Dalot. We won't pick him over Dalot. So you've got to have a best 11. And at the moment, Dalot's in the best 11. Bruno and Casemiro are in the best 11. I think his biggest problem is that he just doesn't have enough games to give people game time who deserve it. But it is another challenge being laid out to... I think Mazraoui's quite a unique situation, but it's a challenge for the Mainus and the Dorgus of this world to force a way into this team, I suppose. But look, I like what he had to say. What did he think about a year in charge of Manchester United? He said, look, I had moments that I struggled a lot and I was thinking that maybe this job is not meant to be. But today I feel the opposite. I feel that, and I know that that was the best decision in my life, and I want to be here. So, look, a year of Amorim, I think it's certainly been a year to remember. I mean, this is a man. I mean, I think when I look at the highlights, I was trying to think of a year of Amorim. Obviously, I want another year of Amorim. I want another 2 years of Amorim. I like his interviews. I like him as a person. I like his football. I think he's got a hard job still. I think there's a few more bumps in the road to come. But I think if I could summarise Ruben Amorim's time at Manchester United, some of which is out of his hand, it's out of my hand, and it's out of your hands, I think there's two games that sort of summarise Amorim's time at Man United. I've still got the empty bottle of wine up there. Lyon, second leg, Old Trafford, incredible. His best game, incredible. I don't know how much of a role he had in that, by the way. I mean, I think that was just one of those nights, a bit like, you can't tactically do that. That was incredible. And then 3 days later, we're exhausted. We play Wolves. We should have won. They score 1 goal and win it. And people are saying Amorim out. And I think that summarises the Amorim time at United. You have that amazing Thursday night where the players give everything. Amorim gives everything. We win an amazing game. And then 3 days later, well, 2.5 days later, because it was Thursday night to Sunday afternoon, we play Wolves in the Premier League, which isn't really a priority. They score from a free kick, I think. We can't put the ball in the back of the net. And at the end of the game, people are saying Amorim out. And I think that summarises his year. No matter what he does, there's certain people he's not going to please, whether that's media, ex-players, certain fans, whatever. And yet, when he wins a game, there's a lot of us that want him to do well. And I think that's the Amorim era, really. There's people who will jump on him in every opportunity they get. And there's people that want to see the positives. That's the definition of the year of Amorim for me. And I'm hoping in year 2 we get a little bit more stability, because I feel that it's been a challenging first year. But as I said to you yesterday, for me, and I'm allowed to say this, Amorim's era started at the start of this season. Last season was just, a bit of a write-off, really. He also spoke about his tactics. Now, this is a bit of a long answer, but this is what he said. When asked about Man United's direct build-up this season, he says, I don't believe we have a style where we have to always build up from the back. We want to build up to push the opponent and have space to score goals. If the space is there, if we've got the numbers, it's a numbers game. If there's 3 against 3 in the front and I've got Sesko, Cunha and Mbeumo, then I will put the ball in 2 passes. I want to score goals in 2 passes, direct. But sometimes you have to build up. What I try to teach my players is which kind of game do I need to play in this situation. That's my job. I don't want to teach my players to build up with a lot of touches, and then if you need a lot of touches, you will understand that you need a lot of touches. If you need 1, put the ball long, because the fans want to see a different game. And then we're in England. I tried to show you a little bit of English football in the past. I don't have a clear way of build-up. I look at the space, the number of players, the characteristics of my players, and try to use that to win games. Effectively, he's playing long ball. He's playing direct football. He literally is giving you that answer. Whether the stats bear it out anyway, and he's giving it you there. He's saying, look, sometimes we might need to play possession football, but I don't want to do that. I want to play a ball quickly. I want to play in 2 passes. I want to score goals in 2 passes. He also says we're in England, so I want to give you a bit of English football from the past, which is long ball. So look, I think that he says if the long ball's on, take it. So we're playing more direct this season, and we've been playing more direct from the start of the season, and that's the way we're playing at the moment. Now, is that going to be the new thing to hit Amorim with, that he plays direct football? I've enjoyed the last 3 games. We've won games. I don't think it's not going to be easy against the low block, says Mohamed, and we will have to play a different way. But look, I mean, I just think there's sometimes an over-scrutiny of what we're trying to do. He's won 3 games in a row. It should be 4 today. Are we really going to spend our time talking about long ball and stuff like that? It's been very evident. Look, maybe people watch football in a different way. The media certainly are slower than a snail's turd. But we've been playing like this since Arsenal. This is not new. We've been playing with the reason we're top for long passes is because we've been doing this all season. It's not new. It's because we're winning with it now and people are looking at a new way to slag us off. When we were losing to Brentford and Man City and losing to Arsenal, no one was talking about Man United being direct because we weren't winning. Now we're winning. It's, they're really long ball. They've changed in the international break. We've been doing it all season. He's going direct. Why do you think he's bought people like Mbeumo? So it's working for us at the moment. And look, if he's going to play this way for the next 5 years, then let's have a conversation about it. Or is he playing like this because he's getting the best out of what he's got? We have no midfield. The midfield is not good enough. Bruno loves a long ball. So we're not good enough to play through the midfield. Maybe Amorim knows what you know. Maybe Amorim knows what I know. Maybe Amorim knows that midfield isn't very good. And maybe Amorim knows he's got to bypass it. Or maybe he knows he's got to get it into them and get them to hit it long quick. We see Casemiro play the first time pass all the time. He never wants to keep hold of it. So and it works. We see Bruno looking at that long pass all the time. We're transitioning quick and we're trying to move quick. And that's what we're trying to do. And at the moment, as OPC says, football is evolving. It works for us. I mean, I prefer the PSG way of playing, you know, get it down the wings, etc. We're certainly going to see Nottingham Forest do that today. But winning is the most important thing. And going back to the start of the show, Amorim, we need European football. We need Champions League football. I mean, I'm not going to complain about how we win. I'm sure Arsenal fans aren't complaining about how they win either. What do you think of United on Boxing Day, says Siabs? I know Terry spoke about it last night. I will answer your super chat very, very quickly. So there are no Boxing Day scheduled Premier League games apart from Man United against Newcastle at 8 o'clock on Boxing Day night. This is because the Premier League, yet again, have taken a massive poo on football fans again. We are slowly seeing the degradation of football for the fans in this country, in the UK. We have no say in our football clubs. Man United have got 6 of the next 10 Monday night football games. Monday night football is a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. Like, you're not part of the weekend. Sunderland are playing Everton on Monday. We're all back at work on Monday. You're not part of the weekend. You're a distant memory. People have to travel up the country on a Monday evening and then go back. It's disgusting. And we've got loads of Monday night games. Shat on from a great height again. As for Boxing Day, this is an institution. This is a British football institution. And the Premier League have said, oh, it's back next year. It's like bloody Glastonbury. We shouldn't have a year off from Boxing Day football. All my life, we've had Boxing Day football in the top division in England, and now we don't. And you know what? It's not Man United Newcastle's not even a token gesture. They're treating it like a normal weekend. The 27th is a Saturday, loads of Premier League games. The only reason Man United are playing at 8 o'clock on Boxing Day night is because it's a Friday night. Oh, what happens on a Friday night sometimes? An 8 o'clock game. The Premier League have just ignored Christmas this year. They've ignored the traditional Boxing Day schedule. I think it's disgusting. I'm not that bothered that we're playing at 8 o'clock on Boxing Day night. I mean, 8 o'clock, I'd rather we were playing at midday. I'd rather we were playing at 5:30. But at least we have a game on Boxing Day. I feel for everybody else who's a Premier League fan, it's a disgrace. And you know what? We are gradually seeing the changing of football in this country. And, you know, I think that's why communities like this are important. But they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. What's Man United Football Club doing about this? I think the amount of Monday night games we've got is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I know people for the Bournemouth game that had hotels booked for a weekend in Manchester for Christmas with their kids. It's on a Monday fucking night now. They're just twats, absolute twats. Do my absolute head in. These football clubs, the Premier League are bad enough, but these football clubs do not represent fans. It's our football club, but they don't represent us. They are money motivated knobheads. They do not care about fans at all, and it's always the fans that get shit on, and there's nothing we can do about it. So we all have to wear exactly the same clothes we wore last Saturday, right? Says Doug. No, you don't have to. You can wear what you like. Daniel Derbyshire, thanks for being a member for 59 months. Ever Greg says, huge opportunity today to show what this team is made of. Oh, yeah, I can't wait. Surely it's a win. And then I'm on That's Football to watch Chelsea and Spurs and Villa and Liverpool all drop points as well. So it could be a great weekend for us again, like last weekend. If we don't get Champions League wages, should be decreased, says Daniel. Ravi says, you should do Christmas T-shirts for us in Australia, ready for the match tonight, 2 a.m. Good idea, Ravi. I love your content and wanted to ask what game you thought would be the best game to go to in December or January for my first home game, says James. Mate, I've literally just answered that inadvertently. I don't know, because you could pick a game on a Saturday and it will get moved to a bloody Monday night. So I've got no idea. But trust me, I think at the moment there's no game I wouldn't advise a United fan to go to. And I think that's a testament to how we've improved recently, because I think last season it was a minefield of trying to pick a game that United might play well in. I think this season, any home game's we're good at home at the moment. The atmosphere's good. We're playing well at home. So get yourself down there. I mean, I think some people are quite nervous of going to a home game against Liverpool or Man City, quite rightly. But right now, I think it'd be great. I'm lucky I could get the time off for the Bournemouth game, but the fact I had to change plans irritates me no end, says Emily Derry. It's a joke. It's absolutely a joke. The Premier League confirmed they were given dispensation to break the 3 o'clock blackout to show games over Christmas, but chose not to use it. Yeah, knobheads, Glenn. Absolute knobheads. Yeah, it is. It's they just don't care about fans. Well, they do care about fans. The only thing they care about you is your wallet. That's all they care about. Money, money, money. Knobheads. Anyway, let's carry on with the show. Still got lots to get into on the show this match day today. So we've spoken about that. I think there was one more thing from Amorim that I wanted to talk about. Before we get into some transfer stuff as well, it was about the 4-3-3, wasn't it? We spoke about Europe, spoke about the year, and I don't see it as... Oh, asked about his system. He says, I don't see it as a 3-4-3. The foundation of the idea is a 3-4-3. When you know how you want to play, it's easy to know what kind of players you need. I try to use that to find the right players for this style of play. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't even know why I mentioned that. I mentioned it because he said that. But why is Ruben Amorim still being asked about his formation? He's won 3 games in a row. Win today and we're in the top 4. Why is he still being asked about his formation? I tell you what, the media in this country, they're relentless in their stupidity. They are so stupid. Like, they just keep asking. It's like they're obsessed about 3-4-3. Loads of clubs in the Premier League play 3-4-3. He's won 3 games in a row with a 3-4-3. Why are you playing a 3-4-3? Why are you playing a 3-4-3? Piss off. I didn't ask you this question. How would you rate Amorim's first year out of 10? Well, this is really easy. I'm answering it myself. This is really easy because I want Amorim to do well. But the honest answer is 4. It's been shit. His first year in charge of Man United, shit. His win ratio, shit. The Europa League final was shit. We finished 15th. We're not even in the top 4 yet. So I'd give it a 4. London 26, just give it a 7. Look, you can be massively Amorim in, and you can love the fact that we've won 3 games in a row and we're going to win today. But across the 12 months, it's been absolutely dreadful. That doesn't make you Amorim out. It's just acknowledging how hard it's been. I hope the second year I'm going to give it an 8 or a 9. The first year's a 4. It's crap. Absolute crap. Amorim would probably give it a 2. You know how honest he is. It's been a bloody nightmare. Absolute nightmare. There are no positives from that first year in relation to performance and results. It's been shit. I mean, yeah, beating Man City at the Etihad was enjoyable. The Lyon game was enjoyable, the second leg. Knocking Arsenal out the FA Cup was enjoyable. But there's been, results-wise, it's been absolutely bloody awful. I'm not going to give him a 5 or a 6 or a 7 just because I like the guy. It's a 4. It's below average. It's shit. But he survived it. And that's the thing. He survived it. And now, year 2, hopefully we're looking at... look, if in a year's time we're back in the Champions League football, instantly that's a minimum 7 for me. If we won a trophy as well, 8. If by this time next year we're in the top 2, it could even be a 9. So, as I said before, there's nothing wrong with being honest in assessment, constructive criticism, whatever you want to call it. A definite 4 for me, year 1. Year 2, let's try and get an 8. And also, using that analogy again, sometimes there is this mansion that is crumbling and it needs restoring. And people will try and build on top of the crumbling bricks when the best strategy is to actually knock it down even more and build from the bottom. And that's basically what Amorim did in year 1. He's had to knock it down more to have a foundation to build it. And knocking it down more is getting rid of Garnacho, Rashford, Sancho, bringing in players in the summer that matter, having to ride it out for the last few months of the season, the Europa League final. So I think it's logical. As a wise man once said, or woman, I can't remember whether it was a username, so I don't know whether it was a man or a woman. Even if they were called Frank, it could be a woman. My point is, somebody said this a few months ago. If Ten Hag set us back 3 years, why would it not take 3 years to come back? Exactly. Right, let's get into some transfer stuff because I watched the Ben Jacobs show with interest and glee yesterday, and I thought there was some stuff in there that was, almost jaw-dropping to me. So, obviously, Bundesliga bridge. I've still got the shirts up from last night, Friday night on That's Football. Stiller, Big game, Stuttgart-Leipzig today, but he says it remains to be seen whether or not Stiller is at the top of Man United's targets due to an uncertainty of the profile of the player the club would want, with Mainu, Casemiro and Anagarte's future unknown. He even said that Casemiro, whether he could stay, I think Casemiro might put it forward that the option for another year is triggered, and Man United would have to financially determine if that's in their interest on the field for the extra year at the number, and also off the field as far as PSR is concerned. So basically, Casemiro might want to stay for another year. Look, Casemiro, I'm sure, will have a big game today. For me, I would not keep Casemiro. I mean, look, we're talking hypothetically, of course we are, but we need two midfielders. I want Stiller and Anderson. They're my two favourites at the moment. There's talk of Conor Gallagher in January. But Casemiro can't be staying. We've got to stop being the club. I was thinking about this morning, how to answer this question, because I think Casemiro is a really important player for us at the moment. And hopefully he'll have another good game today. But we've got to stop being that club that when you're driving down the motorway and you know the fuel gauge is flashing and you keep driving past the service station and you just keep gambling that you can make it to the next one. And then you break down 5 miles before the next service station because you've run out of petrol. Look at what Man City are doing with people like De Bruyne, you know, moving them out before it's the end. By keeping Casemiro for another year, I think we're pushing the limit. Like, if we can get, it's only just November now, and he's doing well. There's no guarantee that Casemiro will even be doing well at the end of the month, let alone the end of the season. And we think we can get another year out of him. It's a very demanding league, and he had struggled with the pace of it. He still misses tackles by about a week. His passing's good, his tackling isn't very good. So for me, Casemiro's got to go in the summer. If we're thinking let's get another year out of him, this is where big clubs act properly. Like, look at what Liverpool are doing with Andy Robertson. I don't actually agree with it. I think he's got more time in him, but they're trying to move him out for Kirkes. I think with Casemiro, keeping him on for another year, especially on the wage he would want, I mean, that's a big no for me. He did. Ben Jacobs did acknowledge that there is a release clause for Bruno Fernandes in theory, but the timing on that one will be everything. And he also said that my gut feeling is that, speaking to sources, that you won't get a mass exodus in the midfield anyway. So if Bruno's going to go, they might be inclined to keep Casemiro, or if Casemiro goes, they might fight to keep Bruno. So I mean, for me, I want them both gone in the summer. As I said, they're our first choice midfield at the moment, so it's a weird thing to say, but that's my stance. I'm allowed to have it. I think in the summer, Bruno, Casemiro go, Stiller, Anderson come in, hopefully Mainu and Ugarte stay. You've got a good platform, Coney coming through, etc. That's how I would like to see it. So, if Casemiro goes, I wouldn't fight to keep Bruno, or if Bruno goes, I wouldn't fight to keep Casemiro. I don't really see Liverpool change their whole midfield in one summer when they bought Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Gravenberch, and they went and won the bloody league. So I don't think we, as I said, it's more we seem to be. We've got to be very careful of this, because if you're keeping Luke Shaw and you're keeping Harry Maguire and then you're keeping Casemiro and then you're keeping Bruno, we're just pushing it. You know, we're pushing our luck a little bit that, oh, let's keep all these experienced players around. What if they run out of, and you know, what if the tank runs out and then you've got them and they're not actually that good anymore? On Conor Gallagher to January and United, Ben Jacobs said, yeah, I think Gallagher's probably the most likely because he's the most feasible. And anyone else they might have to either overpay for or have the player really agitate for the move. As I said, I've used Conor Gallagher multiple times as the midfielder that we can get in January. I think it needs to be a loan to buy to give us that safety net. But we need a midfielder in January, and I believe that is the midfielder that we need. That sort of profile, because we're not going to get the Baleba, we're not going to get the Wharton, we're not going to get the Anderson. Interesting to see how Anderson performs today, by the way. Also went on to say that Baleba isn't off the table for Manchester United. Just the price tag for him at the moment would be obviously a lot of money. We spoke about Wharton, spoke about Gallagher, Xerxes to Roma. I'm a little bit bored about the Xerxes story, actually. I don't know about everybody else, but I don't know. It's November. It's Roma, it's AC Milan, it's West Ham. It's very reminiscent of last year. And I just think, like last year, if he gets a bit of game time, he won't want to go again. And also, he shouldn't be in the team at the moment either, in my opinion. I think with Mainu, it's a bit different because Mainu, I've seen him play for Man United, and you could argue that Casemiro and Bruno aren't really the future of the club. Mainu should be. But with Xerxes, Sesko's younger than him. Cunha and Mbeumo are better than him. I just sort of look at it and I go, I'm a little bit bored of stories about Xerxes. Last year it was the same as well. Every bloody week, stories about Xerxes leaving, and here we go again. And I actually think there's a pathway to the team for him with the AFCON and Mbeumo and Ahmad gone, an injury to Mason Mount, and I think he's starting games. So I think with the Xerxes thing, it's the same as last year. There will be interest there, but he's probably got a better pathway to the team than Mainu in a way, because the AFCON's not going to change Mainu's prospects, is it? So yeah, that's about that. Very interesting about Ivan Toney when he said, the reason I mentioned Toney, and we obviously spoke about Mitrovic last year, is there will be opportunistic names that are a little bit older, that have Premier League experience, that Man United, if they're looking to do something mid-season, could go down that route rather than a young, unproven player. So Ivan Toney could be a possibility in January. I mean, look, he's a striker. We want to get European football. We're going to have that discussion at some point. I mean, I don't really know. I certainly don't think Xerxes is the solution. It doesn't feel like Obi's being lined up for it either, and Rasmus has obviously left. So we do have to have... we need, ideally now, but certainly soon, there has to be, you have to be able to look at the bench and go, there's a striker, and I don't look at that at the moment. So I think we've got to, I think we have to look at that. But I sort of agree with Savage. If you go for Ineos, I'd be very surprised if Man United sign a player over 27. I'm not saying 26, but 27. I'd be very surprised if we bought a player over 27 at any point. I just think it's something that's been mentioned by the club a few times now, and I'm not convinced that we're looking to do that. So, I mean, I think Ivan Toney could come in and score goals. Would I want him to be benching Sesko? No. But look, we're going to have that conversation at some point. What would you do? We do need to bring another striker in. I don't think Obi's going to be ready this season. Maybe not even next season. If you go for another younger striker, you've got two young strikers. That could be a barrier to Obi as well. So you've got to map it. I mean, as I say, I think with Obi as well, it's very similar to Mainu. There's no game time. Where would you even give him game time? If we were in the Carabao Cup or the Europa League, he could have a bit of game time as well. We are sort of preventing development in the lack of game time that we have at the moment. But I think if I was going for a striker, answering the question, if I was going for a striker, I quite like somebody like Ilias Ansa at Union Berlin, who I think is 20. I think he is playing first-team football, interesting profile. I think someone like that. Some people have mentioned the Porto striker. His name, Samu. Yeah, someone like that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's an element of risk to that, but I think that's the right thing to do for this team. Wahi. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Wahi's done very well in my career, mate. I don't know whether he'd suit United. But, yeah, I think I'd go for the younger striker with a bit of experience. Sam Sargent says, big win coming today. Happy 50 months to Mark and the United Stand community. I can't wait, Sam. I'm so excited about the game today. I mean, it's a great football day anyway. Really good. I mean, it's weird not having a 12:30 game, so I'm not live till 2:30. But basically, 2:30 United through till 5:30. Over to That's Football for Chelsea Spurs. Little break, and then 8 o'clock Liverpool Villa. So I'm hoping if we can get the league table up, which we can, but just to refresh memories here, I'm hoping what we're looking at today is that by 5:30, we've got 3 points on the table, which puts us on 19. Bournemouth don't play till tomorrow. Spurs won't have played. Sunderland don't play till Monday. Second in the league at 5:30. And then we sit back and hope that Spurs and Chelsea draw so we can stay second. And then tomorrow, hopefully, Man City and Bournemouth draw. And obviously Liverpool and Villa, well, draw would be good as well. So we could be sat second. We could be second. I mean, if Sunderland win, they'd go second. But we should be top 4 come Tuesday morning. And we could be second on Monday morning. There's a very big chance of it. So it's a you know, that's what's there for us today. You can't play Gallagher and Bruno in the midfield, says Lazy Parker. Well, of course you bloody well can. Do you watch football, Lazy Parker? Or are you just lazy? Conor Gallagher can play. Do you even know what Conor Gallagher does? Conor Gallagher can easily play next to Bruno Fernandes. Mainu could play next to Bruno Fernandes. Reckon United have turned a corner or still expect performances like away at Brentford and Grimsby, says Callum. I think we'll win today. I think we're all very confident about that. But we will lose again. You know, we're not going to win every week now. We will lose again. I feel we could go on a really good run between now and Christmas. There's not really a losable game definitively. Spurs away will be difficult. Palace away could be difficult. Bournemouth at home could be difficult. Villa away could be difficult. But we're capable of winning those games. But there will be losses. I'd say we might lose 2 more before Christmas. I'd rather we drew those games, by the way. But we're probably where... If we're in the top 4 tonight, if we're at the top 4 after game week 10, we're ahead of where I was thinking. I thought game week 10 being touching different distance of 5th place. So if we're in the top 4, we're ahead of schedule. The challenge then is to stay there. We've got to stay in the top 4. And it's a great point from Goodney saying it's how we lose as well. Yeah, look, if you lose to the better team narrowly, you've got to take it on the chin. Look at Coventry City. They've not lost in ages. It's their first loss in the Championship, and they lost to Wrexham 3-2. They'll be disappointed, but it's a 3-2 loss away from home in a competitive league. So it's how you lose, definitely. It's a great point. Win today, even if we lose to Spurs next week, which I don't think we will. If you lose 1-0 and you give it everything and you play well and you're a bit unlucky, it's a loss. But, you know, look at the way Liverpool are losing at the moment. They're not playing well and they're getting beat fairly. That's what we don't want to see. I can accept that we're going to have to lose some games this season, but at the moment it looks quite good. As I said, we've lost 4 games this season, haven't we? And have we lost 4? Brentford, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal. So we lost 4 games. No, we didn't lose to Chelsea. How many games have we lost this season? I mean, I can't bloody see. It's so small. We've lost 3 games this season. So, haven't got the T-shirt, but Newcastle lost 12 and finished 5th. So, halfway through the season is going to be about Christmas. We've lost 5 games by Christmas. That's not bad. That's not bad, really. And we might not lose 2 games before Christmas. So, we're in a good position at the moment. And Sebastian says it's about comfortably being in the top 4 by Christmas. I think it's going to be a very, very competitive season, and we're, as I say, we're slightly ahead of schedule. The question is, the challenge is to stay there now. That's what we need to do. Thanks everyone for tuning in this morning. 12,000 on a Saturday morning. We're excited, that's why. Felix and Mika and Stiller as pivot. David Rahm as left wing backs as Melcher. We're just going to go Bundesliga. Yeah, if we want to become Donut FC again, says Lazy Parker. Seems like some of us don't want to hurt their feelings. Not part of the plan. Time to go, says Keel Robinson. Sam Sargent says big win today. Can Mainu and Bruno work in a pivot, Mark, says Luca. I don't think Amorim believes in it, but I do. I mean, people forget that Kobbie Mainu played in a pivot for England in the Euros, and people forget that he played as a holding midfielder when he made his breakthrough. I remember specifically him playing at Goodison Park and St James's Park as a holding midfielder in a midfield 3. So he can definitely play that position. I just think Amorim's decided that he can't. But I definitely think Mainu and Bruno could play together. But we're just not seeing it. Hitton says, I don't recall in last 10 years where this time of year injuries don't start hitting us, as we started this season 2 to 3 players short. Yeah, Hitton, there's a bit of bollocks going around that we're suddenly a really fit team. I just think people just don't... Toxic positivity, isn't it? We are still picking up injuries. We have still had injuries this season. Not as significant as maybe a Chelsea, but we've still had a lot of injuries, so that's not gone. I mean, Mason Mount's been injured twice. Harry Maguire's injured at the moment. Mazraoui's been injured twice. Xerxes was injured at the start of the season. We have still had quite a lot of injuries, but the reason it doesn't feel like it is because we're only playing 1 game a week. So because we're only playing 1 game a week, even if you've got 4 or 5 injuries, you've still got 15 first-team players. So we are still picking up injuries. That is still there, and we need to be wary of that. Secondly, people say we're really fit this year because we're playing 1 game a week. So we are benefiting from 1 game a week. We can manage the injuries better, and people are more fitter and sharper because we're only playing 1 game a week. So with the benefit of 1 game a week, just be very wary that we've not suddenly solved our medical problems or our fitness problems because we're only playing 1 game a week, and that's the advantage at the moment. But today is not going to be one of those games, is it? Because Forest didn't play midweek either. Do you reckon United have turned a corner? Done that one, Callum. And wonder if Gibbs White has a relegation clause, says Thomas. I like Casemiro, says Tom McBraid, but I can't wait for him to go. And problem is Anderson is 100 million plus thanks to Chelsea, says Ping. And I think Amorim's honesty receives a lot of respect. Players and people with mature mentality start to understand what he's trying to say, and those with a weak mentality start acting like spoiled brats, says Seth. We still have more to knock down and rebuild as well. That midfield needs gutting and reconstructing, says Emily Derry. Any concrete news on a return from Martinez, says Ever Greg. Yeah, I mean, look, Martinez wants to play. But as Amorim has said twice in the last 24 hours, we're not going to rush him back, which is intelligent. I sort of spoke about this a couple of days ago. If this was a cup final or a semi-final, you might push it. But if we brought Martinez back today or next week, Argentina have got every right to call him up. I don't want him going to Argentina after nearly a year out injured in his first week back. I think that's... You can't say it to Martinez because he's going to want to go to Argentina. He loves playing for Argentina. It's his teammates. But I don't... You know, you've been out for a very long time with a very bad injury, and you had a very bad injury just before that. I don't want you getting on a plane to South America training with the Argentinian team when you've not really done anything with us. So from United's point of view, I wouldn't put him on the bench against Spurs either, because then he can't get called up for Argentina then. So... the logical thing to do is arrange a game behind closed doors in the international break, keep him in Manchester, and have him raring to go for that Everton game straight after the international break. That's the logical thing to do, in my opinion. Harvey says, all these experienced players you're wanting to get rid of are the players winning and clutching in big games. Experience is key to win. Look at 1992, says Harvey. No, don't ever compare our experienced players now to teams that won bloody Premier Leagues. They're experienced in sacking managers and losing more than they are in winning. I understand why we'd keep Maguire around. I understand why we'd keep Shaw around because he's got a long contract. But we can't keep them all, mate. We can't just keep going, oh, Casemiro, Dalot, Bruno, Shaw, Maguire. We can't just keep all of them. Why do you think Man City moved them on? Why do you think Liverpool moved them on? We can't keep doing it. We've got to build something new. That midfield needs gutting, like Emily Derry says. I wouldn't be handing another contract to Casemiro. No. If we can get through this year with him, we'll have done really, really well. But we shouldn't be getting another year. Not in my opinion. But it's all open for discussion. I would keep Maguire because his experience is different. It's more about what he's been through at the club and what he can teach others. Luke Shaw we can't do anything with because he's got 2 years left on his deal. But Casemiro I wouldn't be giving a new contract to. If we get another year out of him, if he can keep it up this season week in, week out, we'll have done really well. But I wouldn't Gamble on another one. Adil says, what is the target? European football. Okay, thanks everyone for watching. Countdown to kickoff probably starts at about 1 o'clock today. I'm live with you at 2:30. Kickoff is at 3 o'clock. Big day, 3 points into that top 4. Second place, in fact. Let's go. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Stay safe. I'll speak to you on the next one. Don't forget, I'm going to go and hang it up now. Where is it gone? Pre-order your Christmas jumper. Delivered worldwide. That's the back of it. That's the front of it. Knitted. And available worldwide. And when they're gone, they're gone. Speak to you in a bit. Take care.